All right, let's dive into something every design team wrestles with. You've just come out of this whirlwind of creative, fast-paced iteration. It's exciting, maybe a little chaotic. So how do you actually take all that raw energy and shape it into a truly polished final product? That's what we're going to break down today.
So picture this. Your team has just absolutely powered through a sprint. Ideas were flying, prototypes got built, and you were making changes at, the speed of light. It feels amazing, like a huge win. But then, what happens next? What's the plan to make sure all that fast work actually holds together?
Well, this is exactly where something called the post-iteration checkpoint comes into play. You can think of it as the essential bridge that takes you from that messy, all-over-the-place creative phase to the structured final push. It's that moment where you just pause, take a breath, and really look at what you've just built.
And here's the real challenge we're trying to solve. Look, speed is fantastic during iteration, but it often comes with a hidden cost. When you're moving that fast, it is so easy to introduce little inconsistencies. A button that's slightly different over here, a clunky interaction there. All these tiny things that can quietly start to undermine the whole project.
So that brings us to the main goal. This whole review, it's not just about finding mistakes, it's really about confirmation. It's asking the tough questions. Did the changes we just spent all this time on actually fix the problems we heard about in feedback? Are we 100% sure that our so-called improvements really improved the experience? This step is all about making sure you're building on solid ground.
To get this right, we're going to look at it as 3 core pillars. And first up is the quality check. I want you to think of this as your first line of defense. It's like a proactive safety net, designed to catch all those little slip-ups before they have a chance to grow into major headaches later on.
And the word that really matters here is systematic. A quality checkpoint isn't just a casual glance over. No, it's a methodical hunt. You are systematically looking for those tiny little gremlins that always manage to sneak in during rapid-fire implementation. You got to make sure nothing gets missed.
So what are we hunting for exactly? Well, it's usually the same old suspects, right? We're talking about misaligned text that just throws off the whole balance. Or those incomplete interactions, where a button works but its hover state is missing. We're looking for components that just got forgotten, and all those other little visual mistakes that, on their own, seem tiny, but together, they really chip away at the quality.
Okay, on to our second pillar, the cohesion test. Now that we've sweat the small stuff and checked for individual mistakes, it's time to zoom out. We're shifting our perspective. The question is no longer, is this one button pixel perfect? But rather, do all of these different pieces actually work together as a single, stable, and intuitive experience?
And just like our quality check, this has to be systematic. You start really broad by walking through each user flow again, from start to finish. Does it still feel right? Does it make sense? Then you zoom in a bit, examining each screen within those flows to check for consistency. And finally, you get granular, verifying that every single feature behaves exactly like it's supposed to. It's a real top-down approach that guarantees everything hangs together.
Our third and final pillar is maybe the most important because it's all about the people. It's the team huddle. You could have a technically perfect prototype, but if your team isn't on the same page, you're going to have problems. This is all about getting everyone realigned and refocused for that final push to the finish line.
And the transformation you see here is huge. Before a good review, team members are often working off their own individual assumptions. Priorities can feel a little fuzzy. But after a proper huddle, you get shared expectations. You walk away with a crystal clear task list. You get unified agreement on the path forward. It's a total game changer for the team's momentum. This quote really just nails it. This isn't just about team morale or feeling good. It's about being incredibly effective. When you actually discuss what's done and what's left, you can prioritize the remaining work with surgical precision. Everybody knows what they need to work on next, and just as importantly, why it matters. That's absolutely critical in the final stages of a project. So when you combine these 3 pillars, that deep dive quality check, the big picture cohesion test, and that crucial team huddle, you create a formal transition. You are consciously and deliberately shifting the project's focus away from rapid, messy iteration and toward a final, focused period of enhancement. And this transition point is so important. It's the moment the whole team can collectively say, okay, the big exploration is over. Now let's lock in, let's polish, let's stabilize, and let's get this thing ready. By making this moment official, you stop that endless cycle of tinkering and you keep the project moving forward with real purpose. So, when all is said and done, what does this whole process really achieve? It comes down to one thing. It builds
team confidence. A team that has systematically reviewed its own work, that is completely aligned on its goals, and that has a stable prototype to build on, well, that's a confident team. And a confident team is ready to absolutely nail that last mile.
So as we wrap this up, I want to leave you with this question to think about. You can check all the boxes, you can fix all the bugs, but what is it that truly makes a project feel final? This review process we've talked about gets you incredibly close, but that final step, that's a leap of confidence, and it's a leap that's built on a foundation of really diligent work. I hope this helps you and your team make that leap.